All right, I think we're on. Um, yeah, let me know if you can't hear me. I'll be looking at the comments. If you can hear me, then we are on for another week of Make Money with AI. Yes, that's very clickbaity. Yes, that gets the attention, but I think that it's rightfully so. We have a lot on this week, as always. I'm always keen to show you what's happening in AI, share some knowledge, learn something new on either side. And if you've got any tools you're testing out, feel free to drop them in the comments and we can explore. I have a few tools that I want to show you that I find particularly useful. This is all very tuned to small businesses. So make sure you understand that I'm not just showing you theory, I'm giving you the real hard, practical, hands-on experience. I'm not some major consulting firm that's going to deliver you theory. I am very much hands-on the job and been on the tech bench for the last few years, making sure that you get something that makes a difference, that really drives the bottom line. So the purpose of this is to show you how I do that, and exactly where I look for information, where I test things out, and in sort of my process. I'm also going to show you a few things, for example, some late news that's happening in Australia that's relevant to you, and some of the posts and trends that have been happening in the AI. So without further ado, let's get into it. At any point, you're also welcome to jump onto the website. I have a bunch of free resources there. You can get free cheat sheets. I'm about to launch a free guide as well. And I've got some free tools coming up like syncthetime.com, which is available to anyone who is doing global meeting planning or needs to sync with people around the globe. So, as a recap, what's happening in Australia in the last week? Well, some research suggests that the government is investing majorly in some AI centers for SMBs. They've put out a grant that has had a number of grant recipients being published on their website. These are major consulting firms or large government groups that are building courses and different aspects of AI to help with regional adoption. Most of these events I've noticed are not in this area, so I'm fairly disappointed at the reach, because a lot of the time these firms will only offer events in their region. But overall, I think it's a really good initiative to start to roll out. I would just like to see more of a more smaller grant awards being distributed rather than some of the major ones that they've done, which haven't really rolled out many events so far and are really quite limited in their reach. And to be honest, some of their virtual events are pretty underwhelming. So there's a lot of theory, there's a lot of long integration concepts that will take hours and thousands of dollars to implement. Whereas I think there's an opportunity here to actually help businesses implement AI in a very cost-effective way while still maintaining their compliance. Some compliance is going to be happening later on this year. I have an entire framework to process the compliance needs for your business and prepare you for that. So if you would like to chat about a more cost-effective way of doing this, then that's really going to drive the bottom line. Feel free to reach out. It does seem like the AI market in Australia will be quite large. So research from the CSIRO suggests that this will look at around $315 billion by 2028 as a total market value. And that's pretty exciting. That's an entirely new market that almost didn't exist before. There was some traces of it, but now it is major. Why is that? Well, I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that we're very uniquely positioned geographically, but also we have some great talent here in Australia. So there's a number of other aspects. Those are just the major two, but I think we are uniquely positioned for the AI market and to innovate on our existing businesses with AI. There's also some evidence that leans towards AI actually generating an additional $280 billion in economic benefits by 2030. So this is most likely due to businesses and everyday people being able to make their lives more effective, booking, calling, messaging, events, banking, finance, everything can be drastically improved with an AI agent or an interface that's much easier to use and just takes less time to do it all. I know you probably all want a faster tax return. You want faster government services that are also better. You'll also want a number of other services like getting your car booked in for an appointment, having the history of your health available so that if you want to use that to make better decisions with your own diagnostics and also diagnose issues earlier, there's less costs involved in doing that, and there's less cost then involved in the treatment. So there's everything from health to everyday services. They're all going to be optimized with AI, and I think this is quite an exciting time to be alive, particularly to start a business. It's almost never been a better time to start a business or scale your business. But overall, this is going to be a very big event, and you can only see, if you want to see some ideas of what that looks like, I've got a few great videos that were generated with AI to visualize what the future could look like. if things start to becoming more efficient. But that's a side note. Feel free to message me with that video, and we can go from there. Recently, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, who is one of the leading AI providers in the world, really coined the ChatGPT platform, which was one of the largest growing AI platforms in the space, if not in the entire software world. It grew faster than any other software application that's ever been launched, almost by a factor of 10. So it was very, very quick. It grew to millions of users in a matter of days. So what is this article about? Well, he's saying recently people have asked me, oh, do you know, if you say please and if you say thank you, is AI better? I did look at some research at the time that suggested that it would allocate more compute, which is in some situations will give you better responses, or maybe it starts to think more about what you're doing. But that obviously depends on whether you're prompting it well. And if you're not prompting it well and then asking it to allocate more compute, which ends up costing more money because of the compute costs and the energy costs, when you do ask it to allocate more compute, then it's going to cost millions more for OpenAI, even if you're not getting a better result at the end. So are you getting better results? Most of the time, probably no. And it probably doesn't do anything other than pleasing our AI overlords in the future, which there's been a number of memes about that created. If the robots do take over, they'll go around and see everyone who's said thank you and please to the models at one point and save them, which is a joke, but not to be taken seriously. Maybe not. But this particular article is Sam Altman actually admitting that, because it is taking up more compute for them, whether it's just in the prompt or whether in the actual model is allocating more compute to that user, then it's actually costing them millions and millions of dollars just by you saying please and thank you. So that's something that's been very interesting in this space, is that just these small terms actually cost that company millions more, which is already operating at a loss, famously at quite a large loss as well at the moment. So they're really trying to make things more effective for people and make their models more effective. And I think this is just an interesting thing that's come around from prompt engineering, is that a lot of the times there's words that are non-specific and they're quite vague or ambiguous, or don't really speak directly to the purpose. And so therefore costing this company much more money, and actually probably costing you in token usage by doing so. So key part here is effective prompt engineering is going to save you money and save OpenAI money, and maybe make them more resilient in the future. So what else is happening? Well, we've seen that China has actually just said that every kid in China is now required to learn AI starting September 1st, mandatory for even a 6-year-old. So this is starting, and they're building out mandatory AI education for all primary and secondary school students, requiring a minimum of 8 hours of AI lessons annually. So that's small. I would expect that to increase as AI finds more and more use cases. But at the moment, that's far quicker than almost everyone else. So I haven't seen any mandatory AI courses being brought out, even though there we have mandatory maths and English courses. I would expect mandatory AI courses to be coming out very soon. Particularly for both I'd see both the students and the teachers will be getting lessons on this, as well as even the parents, because parents often don't know whether they should be encouraging their kids to use AI and how they should be doing that. That's one of the biggest problems I've talked to people about, is that they don't know if they should let their kids use it. I think there's some situations where this actually improves critical thinking and their learning. For example, Khan Academy is an incredible tool that has AI ingrained into it and makes sure your kid is being pushed through and progresses at a pace that's suitable to them. And then also has a little assistant there that helps them with each step of the course. Even in their more advanced coding courses, it even helps them brainstorm some answers on how to respond to a coding question. I think that's an incredible tool for kids to have, and I really wish I had access to some of those when I was a kid, because I would have sped through school with this sort of learning. And when I was in school, we actually had maths AI that was called Wolfram Alpha, and it was clear night and day for the students that studied with Wolfram Alpha and those that didn't, because those that did actually had a lot more resources to their to available to them, and they were able to solve problems faster, learn what was available and existing in the maths world at that time, and then build on top of it. So it is really building on top of the shoulders of giants, and then having a way more personalized experience in your education. So China is really pushing forward with this. I'm very interested to see how this goes. I think they've got really good models and really good technology to build upon, and I would hope that we start seeing more action in the other countries, for example, in Australia. So that would be something that I'd be interested to see. If there's any other learning tools or apps that you've been using, I'm always interested to try them out. But if you haven't got your kids on Khan Academy already, particularly Khan Academy Kids, then go and check that one out. I could always come back to this graph because it's happening every single day. I'm seeing those that are adopting AI and are using it to navigate new markets, create new products and services for themselves, and generate more revenue for themselves. At the end of the day, it can help across your operations, particularly at the moment with lead generation, marketing, sales. It's all coming into being a very important part of scaling your business. And I'm seeing those that are fully utilizing it to its extent, which is a very small group, and see the AI as another coworker for them, not just as some tool, not just as the next trendy app, but actually as a real employee for themselves to have as an assistant to them in their everyday across almost every function of their business. And those that are leaning into it are generating far more growth. It's seeing at least 10% growth. I've seen some that actually generate 1.5 times more revenue than those that don't. So it's becoming more and more apparent that those who adopt it are scaling faster, taking on more clients, and doing more of what they love doing in their business. And you'd be surprised the businesses that aren't able to use, who think that they aren't able to use AI. You know, your everyday builder or construction clients, retail, hospitality. You'd be surprised how you can use AI to make you more money and brainstorm new ideas. You know, for example, I was talking to a hospitality team the other week, and they didn't realize that they could brainstorm new recipes and new menus as an example of something you could use AI for. Our builder started using it for quoting and proposals and general messaging across all their platforms, from email to text, which he particularly complained about his emails being something that he wasn't particularly fond of. So when it comes to AI implementation, there is going to be a huge gap growing, and I would just like to see, I'd like you to be on the right side. I know there's a lot of support coming out from the government, but it's not always going to be tailored to the way, what you need at this level, from starting out from 0 to 20 employees. Very interesting space to be starting in, and not everyone can provide you the advice that you need there. So I'll continue with the rest of the demonstrations that I have today. If you want to find out more about what I do, feel free to jump on my website. So I'll jump right into that now. So we have our website here. You're able to book a discovery call with me. I've got 10 businesses a month I can do this with. So free 15 minutes with me, and I'll help you assess some use cases up front and start discussing about our alignment. I have a free cheat sheet that you can download here that gets you started. It's a great way to start with AI and just start interacting with it to its best. You can put your email in there and you'll get updates plus 20% off your first power hour. will be building out a number of other resources here, which will be available to you. We've already got one here, which is a free resource pack, which includes a number of tools I see businesses using every day and ways at which we can break down the AI tech stack so that you can start to save money straight away. I have a number of other tools that I use in this link tree here. We've got a free Jeff Bezos trained chatbot. We call it Beth Bezos because it's trained on top entrepreneurial minds. It's a great tool for anyone who's looking at brainstorming how to build their business out and how to map all their processes out. It's one tool in the stack. I've also got an AI calendar here, so all my AI workshops will be featured here. We have an AI Kickstarter workshop in Noosa. We've got one spot left on that one. If you want to join, feel free to jump in. It's one spot left. I'm about to launch another one that will be on in, let me get this up. I have another one coming up soon, so feel free to jump on that. One moment. Yeah, I've got it just here. I've got another one. It's a whole day in Noosa. If you want to join, it's Friday, the 2nd of May. And I'll be launching that event on that event calendar after this. Or you can jump on my Facebook and there's a few posts on there. That's all we have for events for now. I've got a second AI workshop in Noosa coming up soon, and I'll be running more virtual events. If you would like to have a custom event for your business, a workshop that's built just for your business and the way that you operate, feel free to reach out. I have workshops that start from as little as $1,000 for 2 hours. And yeah, it can be tailored to you and your business. And I've been doing that across retail, across industry bodies, for government, construction, a number of different industries. And yeah, there's some pretty serious gains. We're seeing at least 2 hours saved just from that 2-hour workshop. So that's an ROI of within a week, you get your money back. Outside of that, we'll be having a number of other portfolio. If you want to see up my portfolio, it's just there. You can see what we've been working on so far. Some websites we've been building and AI solutions. It's all in there, and our current partners right now. This has been a big journey of testing out a number of tools, and yeah, I'm just excited to share that with more people. Seems like I was already being brought into projects initially, and so that's why we started. We started getting into that because it was just something I decided maybe this is worthwhile because everyone wants me to do this. And I'm actually very well positioned to do this, being an ex-technician on the tech bench. So I've used these tools every day. I tested like at least 30 tools the other night and found 2 that actually worked. So I'll show you one of those now quickly, and one that I've been building for clients. So I've been using this tool the other day. I built this very quickly. It took me one afternoon. I went from ideation to implementation. It took me a few hours to brainstorm what I wanted to do and then build out the code for this. It went in and built out the entire code for me and everything that I wanted to include in it. And I continued to brainstorm to make this nice and easy to use. It even generated logos and fonts and can create these little dynamic animations. If you jump straight in, you can search immediately for cities that you want the time to see. So 1 hour behind the current time. If you want to adjust which time zone you're in, you can select that here. And then it will tell you the hours behind from anyone that you search here and what time it is there. Okay, that's great. And that's, you've got that in your Siri, that's in your Apple phone or in your Android phone, that's available in there. But what if I wanted to plan a meeting in advance on a specific day? So we're able to then add in the cities that we want to sync up with. We've got a few different cities across the world here, and we want to add our one as well. We'll have UTC on the left here. will have each of the cities that we've selected, and even has a little icon saying if daylight saving time is in effect. So we can then select a date in the future if we want to make sure that daylight savings is not on then. And then it'll start to show us when everyone is awake. So this is the daytime here. Starts from 7, goes till 7 at night. And you can see we have a period here from UTC 5 to UTC 9 that we'll be able to all have a meeting on during the day. I can then suggest some times based on that and send it off to the team. And it's a nice quick overview of what time it is in each of those time zones. I'll be building this out with more features. If you like this tool, feel free to message me and I can give you access to early updates as they get rolled out. But I'm keen to build more free tools like this for people. There's a number in the pipeline that we're building. And yeah, if you've got an idea, feel free to message me. Okay, so another launch that I'll be doing in a week or so is a quick start playbook. This has been a really interesting process building this out. We've been brainstorming with some of these reasoning models and feeding in all the latest reports, the latest research, and a number of prompting guides to all be brought into one place. And then I removed a lot of that consulting language that they used, which unfortunately was selling a lot of theory, and just made it more actionable for a small business. So we have this playbook that'll be launching in a week or so. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a free playbook, help you compare all the latest models and platforms to use, and give you a framework to start applying your own customized prompts in your workflows. It's a really great tool. It's something I've used day in, day out, this sort of framework to helping people to prompt better, integrate it into their workflows and beyond. So yeah, if you want to get access to that, you can sign up to the cheat sheet on my website or sign up to our newsletter on the website, and I'll be launching that very soon. Otherwise, you're welcome to drop me a message and I'll send it to you when it's ready. Okay, so this has been built in Gamma. If you haven't used Gamma before, I'm happy to do a quick demo, but the things you can build with Gamma are amazing. I'm really just always inspired by what AI can design, anything from websites to presentations to documents. It's really doing a great job of doing that. I've got a number of, reinventing Apple's website and reinventing OpenAI's website. It's all in here. It's done a great job. And yeah, I have a lot of fun playing with Gamma to build business documents and presentations. So if you want to generate your first version of your website, that's also a great option here. I've got other tools to do that, and I have an entire framework that I use when I build websites. So if you would like a custom website or a training session on how to build websites with the latest development tools, feel free to message me and I can show you some more tools that you can assess. I just did that with a developer who was struggling to keeping up to date with all the latest things that are happening. And I showed them some new tools that are coming out and which one's best for what. And immediately he was saving at least 5 hours in his development lifecycle every single day, able to brainstorm new features, come up with designs. It's working wonders for technical teams. And if you're non-technical, you can also build some really cool stuff as well. And all you need to, it's the same skills that you need when you're responding to an email. It's just being able to structure that in a way that makes sense. And that's what we teach for everyone that attends our workshops and takes on a power hour. So this is a skill that I think is really going to rise in demand for hiring and for building teams across industries. And yeah, the playbook I'll be launching in a week or so is a great start to doing that. I'm also about to launch a course in the platform, but that'll still is a work in progress for the next few months. So stay tuned in the next month. We'll, yeah, I'll send that out for you when it's ready. So what can we do? So this is one workspace that I use. I find it really helpful because it actually is completely free to have this account. And all you have to do is plug in some connectors in the background. It's a little bit of setup, but it means you only get charged for what you use. And that for me is invaluable. I sometimes use one model more and then another model less, and then that might change month by month. And I'm able to switch between all the latest models for the latest things I want to do, and then build these large knowledge bases that I can then query from a really advanced model. So I find this really invaluable to have these 5 agents ready to assist me in my day to day. And yeah, it doesn't get any better than this. Some people just prefer using the standard chat GPT, and I find that fairly helpful for a lot of things. But when it comes to using something that has a little bit more human language, I prefer to use another model. And I prefer not to be able to have to switch between platforms too much and pay multiple adding on subscription fees that end up just going on until I may not use that platform that much during that month. So it's not always worth it. I've also built this as a tool that you can access on my website. So you can talk to my website and a number of resources in there. And yeah, it's just a great tool for me to offer to clients. And if you want to build your own workspace for your team, they can be very focused on specific use cases in there. There are other platforms depending on your use case and how you use the AI, but I find this one's very interesting, particularly if you have a strong developer team or someone who's fairly technical. They can start to build it in and integrate it into their workflows and integrate it across the team's workflow a lot quicker. So I can show you a quick example of what this is capable of doing. So how would you approach onboarding a new client in Australia from the perspective of Tech Horizon Labs? The client is a retail shop owner of a fashion industry of men's fashion, and they would like more content support. Be natural and authentic and step me through. So this model takes a few seconds to reason, and then it starts with some initial conversation. So it starts with an initial message that I could send to them once they're ready to, once they've made the time to meet. And then I have some discovery questions there, current challenges assessment, some tailored solutions that I can present. And this is all very messaging based, so it can help me with the way that I communicate. Now draft an outreach message to new clients in this industry from 0 to 20 employees, which is FTE. All right, so now we'll do that. Very interesting. Yep. It's said something more personalized that you have to add into there. Nice little template. That's very specific to the way that we talk. That's already been trained on the way that we talk. But sometimes it does require a bit more fine tuning. Yeah, and it's very, very practical. So I find that a very interesting start. I've used it for a number of other brainstorming exercises. It gets you started with your messaging. It provides a first draft to your outreach messages. It can even generate, I've used deep research to start generating lists of clients I can send that outreach message to. And yeah, it's just invaluable with generating leads. I'm also using it with other lead gen exercises like free giveaways. You just can't get much better than this. So if you want to experiment with one of these, I'm offering a discovery session where we map out parts of your tech stack and you get an initial version of prompt that can be used as a system prompt for these communication assistants. And we can select the platform that you would like to insert that into. Those discovery sessions are starting from around $630 at the moment. So feel free to message me if you would like a version of this for you. So far, this has saved my clients at least 2 hours every day, and I could not personally imagine a day without these communication assistants. It's just truly one of the biggest productivity gains that you can have, particularly when it's strategically implemented. So it's not like every other chat GPT generated message. It's very tuned to the way you talk. And actually, when you use the right prompt engineering techniques, you can include a lot of context very easily for people that mean something to them, doing research into their industry, highlighting use cases and a number of case studies that actually mean something to them. And all your messaging will become much higher quality, much more personalized, and much quicker to generate. So that's a great use case for one of these, but not the only one. I'm consistently seeing new use cases emerging every day. And already from this, I'm able to use this to generate blogs, SEO content, marketing, website copy across my social media. Is all really just changing the way that we run businesses. And I think we can truly give people superpowers in this space just from upskilling them and providing them access to some properly built, strategically implemented, some really just good tools. So yeah, if you would like one of these, let me know. But that's it for today. I'll stop sharing my screen. If you would like to reach out to me, feel free. We can chat a bit more about how you're thinking about using AI. I'll just be checking the chat here. Looks like we've got a few people joining. So yeah, if you want, feel free to switch back to the start. Otherwise, I'll be putting this up on YouTube, LinkedIn, and I think I have some connections with, well, yeah, it's Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and I will also be posting some shorts of this later on. So stay tuned, swing us a follow, and yeah, feel free to drop any messages and comments here of tools you'd like to try out next week, or just, say hello. So I'll chat to you then. Enjoy your week. It's a short week here in Australia, only 3 days. So I hope, hope we can get the most of our weeks. I'll be pumping out a lot of content and a lot of work this week anyway, thanks to AI. So yeah, talk soon and